Lovely.
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. I'm well, thank you.
Good, good.
Everyone, this is Rashida, owner of Lily Christina Bridal Collection. So introduce yourself for us.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rashida. I'm the owner of Lily Christina Bridal Collection. So it's a private one-to-one bridal boutique in Suffolk, so near Framlingham. Don't know if any of you guys have heard of that area before. It's where Ed Sheeran is from, so I live right near him. That's where yeah.
Amazing. Fun fact for you guys. So, Lily Christina Bridal Collection, take us back to the beginning. Where did this all start?
Okay, so the shop has been open now for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
I met my business partner at the time at university. We studied business, we graduated, and we then went on to do a graduate scheme at Boots the Chemist.
Mm-hmm.
And doing that for a couple of years, we knew that we loved dresses. So we just thought, how can we set up a business that's cool, that we can make money and do what we love, and sell dresses. So we thought, oh, for wedding dresses, that might work. And
Okay.
then we just went through it.
You were on your way from there.
Yeah.
So you started Lily Christina Bridal Collection with a business partner.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about that in terms of collaborating with someone else. How was that in terms of not being in charge of making the sole decisions on points moving forward? What was that like for you?
To be honest, I would say having a partner has its pros and its cons.
Mm-hmm.
Biggest pro would be having someone else. You can utilize their skills as well as utilizing your own. So the things I wasn't so good at, I really benefited because she was really good at them, and vice versa.
Okay.
And to be honest, if it wasn't for her, I probably wouldn't have business today, because she was more, let's go for it, let's do it, let's jump in. And I'm
just
more
jump in head first.
Cautious. I was like, oh, let's think about it, let's have a plan. And my cautious behaviour, I probably have gotten into it in the first place. He was more like, let's jump in, and I want to plan. So it worked really well. I had 2 shops at the time, so I still had control of everything I was doing over here, and she controlled. So it worked really well.
Okay. And with having shops, which are basically commercial buildings for your line of business, how did you acquire or get the information that you needed to be able to acquire a commercial building for your business? So when Lily Christina Bridal started, did you instantly start with a shop front or a commercial building, or were you sort of selling dresses from maybe a warehouse at home at first, and then you grew into having a shop? How did that happen?
So with the bridal shop, we always started off with premises. But before we went into bridal, we did start by trying to do an online fashion boutique.
Right. Okay.
That was more like selling online, doing little pop-up shops. We didn't have a premise. But as soon as we started the bridal, we did a lot of research around the area of what we could stock in what area, where there was a gap in the market. And went and found premises.
From there.
Yeah. What worked really well, actually, is that we looked for premises that was actual used for office purposes. So we weren't paying the really expensive business rates that you would on a high street, but then do it up so it looked like a normal
shop front.
So that's a little trick of saving a little bit of money.
That's a little gem. So how did you go about, what gave you the idea to look for more so like large office premises that you were able to use as, because I assume you were still able to have customers come into those dresses, so it was suitable and feasible for the cause. What gave you that idea, and how did you go about acquiring that space? What did you need to have and do to be eligible to rent that space effectively?
There wasn't much really. We literally just inquired. We were looking at our budget, because we started it off with our own money. We didn't have a loan. We didn't have a lot of money to play with. So looking at what we could afford with the amount of money that we had, and we thought, oh yeah, we could get an office premises and do it up as a shop premises. Spoke to the landlord. We just needed a deposit to pay for like months in advance. That was it really. Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So it was quite simple. Just search for an office premises, contact, and it had direct contact details for the landlord. It wasn't sort of through an agent or anything like that. Landlord was happy with what you wanted to do, and then it was just done from there. Brilliant. And now you own more of a commercial premises. So you started off in an office space.
Yeah.
And now you're in a commercial space, is that right?
Actually still an office space. Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. So you were able to just bypass that altogether, really. And, amazing. Okay.
The shop, what people like about it, it's a converted barn right next to a big stately home, and you have to gates when you drive in. It looks like a wedding venue.
Right, okay.
Brides love it because it's out of the way, it's private. There's a lot of shops that you go to, when you go to them on the high street, it's got so people can see you in dresses. Yeah, people quite like the fact that it's private, it's out
there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing. And in terms of, I think you might be dipping in and out slightly. So guys, can someone just give me a signal and let me know if you can hear Rashida okay? Is her sound clear? Are you catching all of this? As well, if you guys have any questions for Rashida, just drop them in the comments and I will be scouring through those shortly. So just drop us a line to let us know that you can hear Rashida clearly. Yes, you can hear clearly. Fantastic. Okay, brilliant. I think they can hear you, so that's great. In terms of, so a bridal collection or any sort of fashion brand, so to speak, you would need to acquire inventory, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
How did you balance and manage like how much you should buy to start with? Because of course, when you started your business, you don't really know what the demand is in the market or how quickly things sell and things like that. So how did you manage that? What was your personal experience like with that?
So it was a lot of trial and error. So starting in the bridal industry, you can't stock the same brand as another supplier within a certain radius. So basically, we had dresses that we wanted to stock, but we had to find an area that wasn't saturated with that brand that was also nice. So that was the start of where we were going to be. And then every year, each season, you have to buy new dresses. So when we started off, we were kind of just buying loads of dresses, buying what we liked, everything. And we didn't have much of a strategy. We didn't understand about, you have to buy each season and then have sales to get rid of the old samples. We're going with it, but until the business went on further, we understood a little bit more about the industry, how it worked, cash flow, and we weren't just blindly just buying dresses like we were in the beginning. Yeah.
Okay. So would you say that was one of your mistakes in starting out then, sort of just going and buying what you found to be sort of really lovely or something you might like, and then finding, oh, actually this isn't selling as we would have hoped. Right, okay. So that's a teachable moment for you guys, and that's sort of transferable irrespective of what field you're in, whether it's bridal, whether it's beauty. When you're buying inventory and stock and starting out, don't just go and buy a load of things that maybe you find to be really nice or that you think will sell. Would you recommend buying in small portions, or what would you recommend now that you have the experience? What would you say to someone who is unexperienced?
I would definitely recommend, in this sort of market anyway, to do more research about your clientele, like who is your ideal bride, what is their price point, what sort of dresses do they like, what sort of bride are you serving, and then you can go out and buy and take more for them as well. Found there were some dresses I absolutely love, but the price point was just a bit too high, so we found we bought sales to sell those dresses that were amazing dresses, but maybe they would have worked better in a different area. So definitely understand the market, and also like have like really close accounts. So if you've got 4 brands, work out which brands are making a profit, which brands are making a loss quicker than thinking, oh my gosh, like these dresses aren't selling. Like actually following each month, seeing what they are. So if there's a brand that isn't breaking even, don't reinvest in that.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. And how did you do your market research? Was it a case of going out there and going to venues to find out how you can get bridal contacts? Did you have a email list that you sort of sent surveys out to? How did you manage to do your market research to figure out what the brides or the consumer in any case, so we can broaden it slightly, what they were looking for specifically in your area? What would you recommend someone going into maybe a similar business of trade, so to speak, should do to gather their market research?
Market research in terms of what they liked.
Exactly.
A lot of it is just with experience. So having more appointments, more of a feel of who my bride was, and also understanding how my bride shopped. So I was spending a lot of money at the start on like magazine advertising and like photo shoots and paying for them all, but actually I was the majority of my brides online, through Google, through social media. That's been massive. Well, so just realizing that how my brides shop and targeting rather than like wasting my money on advertising.
And things like that.
Reaching my bride. Yeah.
And in terms of having because you have a website.
Yeah, a website
for your brand, and if someone is searching on Google, for example, for a bridal boutique, do you have any tips as to how someone could increase their rankings on Google, so when someone is searching for a bridal boutique, yours is up there in one of the first found? Did you implement anything?
So it's a lot of this is there's certain things I'm amazing at, and this is what my business partner was actually brilliant at.
Okay.
Google AdWords, and pay money to get yourself listed higher, and also have keywords, like if you do blogs and stuff like that, having the right keywords that brides are searching. So localized keywords. So my bridal shop in Suffolk, they're having like Suffolk bridal like in my blogs, and having the right keyword and paying for those Google AdWords, because the more of that you do, it really does help.
It pays off.
Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. And your name, the name of your shop, Lily Christina Bridal Collection. Yeah. Where did you get that name from?
So my daughter is called Christina, and my business partner is Lily. So it's Lily Christina Bridal Collection. Yeah.
Amazing. So you're a mum?
I'm a mum, single mum.
Mumtrepreneur.
Yeah, shout out to all the single mums out there.
Amazing, wearing many, many hats. What is that like for you? How do you juggle being the boss babe that you are, motherhood? How do you do it? What is a typical day in the life of for you? How do you manage?
To be honest, I've got a really supportive family. My family are always there. I don't think I would be able to do what I'm doing to the scale that I'm doing it without them. So I'm really grateful to God for my family. And it's just juggling. So it's just juggling and trying to get it all try to fit it all in, and just planning, and just taking advantage of the little times that I do have, to make sure I utilize that well. So even if it's just an evening, like quality time with my daughter, yeah, that's really important to me. So just prioritizing,
carving out that time to make
yeah,
sure that you're able to be present,
yeah,
basically. I know something that's really popular, or common, not popular, something that's really common with mumtrepreneurs is sometimes they say like, oh, they have mum guilt and things
yeah,
like that, and they feel like they don't really know how to juggle, or they sometimes feel like they're putting business before family and stuff like that. So
yeah.
if there is anyone out there that feels that way, what advice can you give them as a mumtrepreneur?
I just think you've just got to have it in the back of your mind. Everything you're doing at work is for your child. So I know when I was growing up, I always thought when I have a child, I would want my child to have everything that I had plus more. And
Right.
I feel like a great childhood. My parents did really well. They're really supportive. They always provide. And my parents are still together. That's amazing. So I have that, but I still feel like I can still give her what I had plus more. So when I'm really working hard, I know not to feel guilty, because I know that, do you know what, when she grows up, I'll be able to support her, whether going to uni, helping her with that, whether she wants a house, I'll be able to help her with that. So I'm doing it. It gives me more
remembering your why, like
yeah,
the purpose.
more, so I just know that I'm doing it for her. So yeah.
Amazing. That is lovely. That is lovely.
Uh,
And in terms of, so you've got, I guess, inventory with sales, and then you've got bills on your commercial space, so to speak. How do you manage the financial side of everything in terms of keeping your books? I know when you've got premises, there's so many more things that, need extra attention effectively. How do you manage with keeping your books and things like that?
So to be honest, I've got an accountant.
Okay.
It is pretty costly, but they do all of that for me. So
Right.
it's a cost, but I think it's a cost for me that's well worth having. A lot of people do their books themselves, but I think everything I've got to do, like, it's the appointments, it's the marketing, it's all of the social media, it's all the direct ordering, like having someone to just focus on doing my accounts, like especially the year-end accounts, because there's a lot of money going in and sometimes there's a lot of money going out. It's just a lot of, I don't think without an accountant I would be able to keep on top of it all. So for that cost worth
well worth it. And what would you say are the main pros of having an accountant? What, for someone who's got no idea what an accountant is, or no idea what an accountant does for a business, how do you explain what an accountant does for you and how it benefits you as a business owner?
Oh, there's so much that they do and pressure that they take off. So when I have had 2 employees for the period that I've had to stop, they made sure I got them on the payroll properly, and their pay slips were all, they do all the pay slips and I just give it to them. And all the pension stuff, they sorted all of that, and tax, the VAT return, I like send over some figures, but then they do it all. That saves me time. Year-end accounts, that's a lot of paperwork, and send over some numbers, but then they do it all. Overall, I would just say it's massively beneficial. I would say the only would be the cost, but
and what could they, not what do you pay exactly, but in the region of what should someone expect to pay on average an accountant? In your experience, what roughly would that set them back?
Yeah, a couple of thousand in a year.
Wow, so it's pretty costly. And is
Yeah,
that all accountants, or do you have a specific type of accountant, being that you've got maybe a larger business?
yeah, I don't think all that much, but I just think because of the nature of the business, I think it's a little bit more, and they do a lot. I think do some of their accounts themselves, but I literally don't do much of it. No.
Okay. So your accountant's pretty trustworthy then as well.
Yeah.
Right. And how did you source your accountant in terms of picking the right one? You know, there's so many accountants out there. How did you source your accountant? Was it just someone you found online or by recommendation? If someone's looking for an accountant, how would you recommend they go about finding one?
So again, that was my business partner that sorted all of that out.
Okay.
I was more like the marketing side of things and engaging brides and all of that, and she was all the back stuff that was really important, but not as fun. So sorted that out. But once we got that contact, I do all the communication. I do all of the communication, but it would just be an internet search, really. I think.
Okay.
Area, and I would go through recommendations. If I was to do it myself, I would definitely go through
recommendations, to make sure you've got someone trustworthy. And you mentioned you previously had staff working for you, which I know brings a whole new dynamic to entrepreneurialism effectively, because as self-employed creatives, entrepreneurs, whatever you may be, I know sometimes it's really easy to just want to do everything yourself because you know you're going to do it right. So what was that for you, having staff and having to manage staff and delegate tasks and things like that?
I've always been used to having staff. My background is store management, so that's new to me. But what was difficult is the fact that this was my baby, and I'm very particular, and I like everything done a certain way, and I like to be there for all the fittings to make sure the dress is perfect. So handing that over was really difficult, but I was really fortunate because the person that I first employed, she'd been following me through social media and everything like that for like maybe a year or two. Been emailing me and emailing me saying she would work for me. Like her mum's background is like she was a seamstress, really interested in bridal, and I just kept on ignoring the messages because I didn't need that time. But then when I actually did need someone, I contacted her, and she was so passionate already. After her first appointment, she went with it. She was amazing. If anything, she was better than me at selling. She was really, really good. Like I trusted her like 100%, but that was just because of her. Like she was just the right person for the job. So I think if you do employ people, you need to make sure that people have the same values and working as you, because there's so much you can teach someone skills, but you can't teach someone will. Like that with it, like you can't teach someone that. So having the right person with that sort of will level, that wants to do really well, that really cares, is really important. Because I trusted, like when I left her with an appointment, I knew she was going to do as good a job I would.
You would do, right.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And that's a lesson for you guys. Persistence. It doesn't matter how many no's you get, just keep going, send that 100th message if you have to, because as you see, it does pay off eventually, because that is something that is, especially where moving into the space of being an entrepreneur lies, when, you know, sometimes you have to do reach outs, or there's certain positions you want, and sometimes there's a fear factor of not wanting to put yourself out there or getting knocked back. Have you faced any particular knockbacks in your career, or anything, you know, lessons learned that you can share and insight into?
Knockbacks in the business?
Even like as far as the market's concerned, just any, you know what, like life lessons, like, do you know what, if I'm going to tell you guys one thing today, take this away.
I would just say hard work and persistence, because I could remember the days where I would go to the shop and have weekends and weekends fully booked with appointments and no sale. Like giving spending 3 hours with a bride, crying, the bride crying, and not making hardly. So weekends now where like the first bride will buy, the second bride will buy, the third bride will buy, and that's every week. But then I remember the days where like I was putting in the same amount of work and not getting the results, but it was the persistence, and it was molding every week and everything to make everything right. And it's the mindset as well, and your attitude, because it's not a rush. When you're buying a wedding dress, it's not like buying a pair of jeans. You've got to think, you've got to go away, you've got to come back. I think the frustration that I was feeling when brides would walk away, I think that was maybe coming off how I was being in the appointments. But now I have positive attitude of I want to make sure this bride feels special, whether she walks away with a dress or not. I want her to come in, have an absolutely amazing experience. I want to tell her friends how amazing it was, and I want to share everything I've got. So my outlook isn't on the end goal of selling a dress. My outlook is let's make this the experience possible. So my mindset changed. Like people come in and it's more warm, like they already feel wow, like they feel good just being there. And that's so just persistence and just crafting whatever you do, just learning as you go, because you eventually get there. Like if you keep at it and you keep learning and you're passionate and you love what you do, you will like get those results in the end.
The results, no, absolutely. And just touching on having that rapport with customers and clients, even if they don't buy from you, how or what sort of advice would you give in terms of customer service, reviews, how to keep your name sort of up there in lights, and how to create a trusted brand? Like, what is your top tips for being a trusted brand?
So my top tip, because that is what my whole business is based on, customer service, because my shop is actually in the middle of nowhere, so I don't have any passing trade. So you would come to my shop if I've done good enough marketing or word of mouth. So word of mouth is my customers come to my shop, and for me it's just about the end-to-end process. So making sure they come in, they're welcome, drinks on arrival, and they feel relaxed, getting to know them, getting to know their bridal party, but as well I do all the alterations in-house, so I've got a seamstress that does all the work there. So making sure that the moment they walk in to when they leave and their dress fits them perfectly, the whole process is as seamless as it can be. It's just really important to me. Like in my mind, when I go to the shop, I don't have a mindset of, oh, I want to sell a dress today. In my head is, I want to provide an amazing customer experience. I want my brides to be delighted when they come to the shop. I want them to walk away and feel like, wow, like I felt like a princess. And if it wasn't for that customer service, I don't think I would have as many customers. But also like using social media to show that off. So whenever I do get a review on Google or Facebook, I post all of that. So brides, before they come into the shop, they know actually, oh, I've seen loads of reviews about this place. I feel like I will be looked after.
Really, really powerful. Yeah, that's amazing. And in terms of scaling and expansion, so I know you mentioned you had 2 locations prior, now you're working from the one. What does that look like in terms of either upscaling or downscaling? Like, what do you consider in order to make those sort of decisions and to make them properly? Like, because sometimes someone might be thinking, oh, I've got a shop and it's doing really well, maybe I should open a second branch. Or they might have already 2 locations or 2 branches and they don't know, should I downscale? Like, what do you look at to make that sort of decision?
There's a lot to consider. Research and marketing. So like, if you've got a location and you're doing really well, it doesn't necessarily mean opening another shop like 20 miles down the road it's going to do well there. It's got a demand for what you want to provide. Got to do research in that area. Also budgeting as well, like if well in one particular store, how much do you need to make another store work? I think understanding your book is really, really important. Although I don't have all of my figures, I do look and see what my budget is. I know how much I can and can't spend. So now if I wanted to introduce another brand, it would need to make me so much money for it to be worthwhile. It's just about understanding where you are financially, not trying to ignore things. Because I found at the start, like, I loved a particular brand, it was my favorite brand, but it wasn't making me any money, and I ignored that for a time. Just because I liked them and I liked to buy them, it was really fancy. But then I had to sit down one day and go, look, this is not making me any money. Like,
it was a personal decision as opposed to a business decision. You were acting with emotion instead of just your business mind.
Yeah, you've just got to think. You've got to look at the numbers. I think look at the numbers and do research. I think when you're planning anything, in terms of upscaling or descaling. Yeah.
Okay. Guys, I'm going to hop into your questions shortly, so do fire them through. Just before I do that, another question for you, Rashida.
Yeah.
I know you said earlier you started off doing bits online, not bridal, but selling online. What has that transition been like? What would you say are the main differences between running an online boutique and a physical boutique for anyone who may be successfully running an online boutique and considering now opening a physical boutique? What would you say the main differences are and things to consider with you?
I think in terms of running a physical shop, in my industry anyway, it's a lot more labor intensive. So going to the shop, I could be with one bride for 3 hours. Like, if you're doing stuff online, you have to respond to emails and place orders and things like that. But the physical, actually being with someone for that amount of time, it's a lot different. So it's a different sort of commitment, and it's a different, because even with a physical shop, I still have to respond to the messages that are coming through. And I still have to respond to the brides that are messaging on Instagram and Facebook and everything. But I feel like it's a little bit more labor intensive, but I didn't do the online stuff for long enough to know what it was like, and I didn't do it on a big scale either. So I've got more experience of running an actual shop. Yeah.
Ooh. Now, you've mentioned marketing a lot throughout our discussion. We can't float over the fact that your brand was recommended by Vogue.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. What an achievement.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened, to be honest. I got an email one day from Vogue saying, do you want to be in our Christmas wish list? I told my business partner, she was like, yeah, that's a dodgy email. I'm like, no, I don't think this is a dodgy email. Because what was it? I can't remember the email name exactly, but
but it was certified.
It was certified, and she was like, I can say verify. I was like, oh my god, it's actually Vogue. So yeah, that was crazy. I think they found me from my website, and they thought, they were like, we're going to try something different this year, and they contacted a few bridal things, and they did like a wish list for that year. I was so surprised, because that was quite early on. opening up the shop.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was really cool. That was really cool.
And that speaks to your marketing, the strength of your marketing, really. Because if anyone finds you just for the sake of finding you, it's down to your marketing.
Yeah.
So what advice can you give everyone watching in terms of building successful marketing? What are your like 3 top tips for marketing? Like, what should we be doing?
Okay, so my first thing would be a marketer. Like, every day you have to market your business in whatever way, shape or form. Like, you have to do something every day to market your business, whether it be messaging people that have visited you or shown interest to them, see where they are with that, whether posting something about a new collection or your service in some way. Like, being a marketer, I don't know where I heard that from, but I've heard it, but it's stuck in my head. So every day in my mind, even if I've got orders to place, dresses to pick up, I will market my business in some way, shape or form. And I've learned as well, people do like to see personality because they feel like they're buying from you. And I found where I've just been moving around with my daughter doing TikToks in lockdown, like literally it was a bit of fun, but in the back of my mind I was like, I do want to be marketing at the same time. People loved it, like loved it, because they've seen a bit about me, they can see mum, they can see that I'm playful, but then I also tried to put some dresses in there as well, so it was like soft marketing. I wasn't doing it all. I was and I was fun. And I found as well, like on Instagram, I try and make my story a little bit more fun and playful. Page more more serious. So I'll have proper posts on my page. I'll show more of my personality on my story, and like that. People like that a lot.
Cool. And what would be your third tip?
Third tip. I would just say don't underestimate the power of social media, because it's crazy how the majority of my brides are through word of mouth, but from Instagram or Facebook. I don't even need to pay for a sponsored post or anything like that. Just engagement on social media, responding to my brides quickly. They love that. Do that at night time, but some do. Like, if a bride messages me at 8 o'clock, I'll respond, because that's the difference of whether they're gonna book an appointment at your shop or the shop down the road. Like, just being engaging people, because people like that.
And it's funny you mentioned about the TikToks and just showing a bit of your personality, because actually that's something we spoke about on Monday as well. So it seems actually a common theme with successful businesses is showing a bit of your personality and just being yourself, because people buy people. So for you guys listening, that's something to bear in mind. You know, just be yourself, be authentic, and people will love you, hopefully. Let me get into some of these comments and questions. Back a bit. Right, so we have Love Struck Faces, thank you. The Wellbeing Avenue, they can hear us, which is great. We've got some thumbs up in there. You can see us. Queens, thank you very much. Manifest at its greatest, defo, teamwork makes the dream work. Great platform. We've got yeses in here, so we've got a couple of people agreeing with some things you said. We have thumbs up in here, so more agreement. Mumtrepreneur life with some hearts in there for you.
Yay.
More agreement, hundreds, claps, thumbs up. Shout out all the Mumtrepreneurs. Claps, 100%. Laughing faces. I'm not too sure what that one was for. All about experience. Great questions. People are saying, hey, thumbs up. Got a question here. What's the main drive behind your dress designs? Is it staying with sort of what's popular or being different?
Oh, it's a mixture of I just do feel like I've got a good pick in wedding dresses, but that's because I like fashion, so I feel like I've got a good eye for it. Also, I try and buy dresses that are commercial, because sometimes you can see the most stunning dress, but that's not what I want to wear on their wedding day. So having something that's commercial, that's trendy, and it's in keeping with the area that I'm in as well. So if I was in London, I would probably be buying more chic dresses that were more alternative, a bit different, a bit. But I'm in Suffolk, and that's not my. So my dresses there are more lace and traditional. But I need time to understand who my market is and what sort of dresses they like. When I try and buy dresses that are different, that they sell. So sticking what works in my area, I think.
Have you ever worked in a London bridal boutique market? So do you know the difference between the two?
I've never worked in London. I do have brides coming from London. I think that's down to marketing, using the right hashtag.
You can reach anyone, anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So we've got another great question. So I love seeing people. So they're loving seeing you immersing in your purpose and your gift. Got some love in there. Thank you, Amazon, for that comment. More thumbs up, 100s. Has your daughter shown an interest in fashion, and does she enjoy seeing you be your own boss? I love that question.
Love the question. To be honest, if anyone follows my Instagram, all the like TikToks that are put together with dresses in, she actually does them for me. Like, mummy, let me do you a TikTok, and she'll sit there and do it, and then the next day I'll post it, and everyone's like, oh. I'm like,
and how old is she?
7. She's only
yeah.
Try not to tell her, but she's taught me how to use TikTok, and now I've got more TikTok likes and followers than her, and she hates it. She's the one that I use it properly, and now like, mummy, that's not fair. I'm like, so
gosh,
for a good teacher, I said.
Yeah, that's a good way to actually. That's a positive. It's true. You taught me.
Yeah,
that's amazing. We've got some love strucks here for you. You're a genius. Well, she's a genius. So your daughter is a genius marketer already. So we've got claps in here for Christina. That's beautiful. And we've got some ahs in there as well. Oh, that is lovely. Honestly, Rashida, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you on.
You're welcome.
Thank you for giving us your time and your story. I've personally learned a lot from you here today, and I'm sure that they have too. So thank you very, very much. If the people want to find you on social media, what are your handles? Where can they find you?
Okay, so my Instagram is Lily Christina _Bridal Collection, and the same with my book, and my website is www.lilychristinabridal.com. And if you've got any queries, you can message me via my website. My email's on there, or you can DM me. That's fine. I'm constantly on my phone, and if Chrissy's on my phone, she'll pass the phone and go, "Mummy, you've got a message." So yeah.
Well trained. Well trained. Amazing. So they're just saying they've learned so much. Amazing. Well, it's been so lovely to have you. You guys can actually watch this on a replay on YouTube in about 48 hours. Until then, it will be uploaded to our IGTV, and we've got our next Candid Conversations live on Monday at 8 p.m. So tune in. And thank you again. It's been a pleasure to have you, Rashida.
Okay.
All right, have a good evening.
Thank you.
Take care.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.